What's up, guys? Welcome back to Men of the Spirit. The lucky winner of last video was 93 Block. So 93 Block, go ahead and throw your comment, throw your address up in the comments. I want to ship this to you, a rubber 5mm weight belt, completely free. Thanks so much for being a supporter. For this video, I'm going to be choosing from the comments to give away this fish collar right here. So guys, make sure to comment, throw up something, throw a scripture, throw up something that you love about God. I'm going to be choosing from my subscribers. So if the comment is subscribe to me, I'm going to be shipping this fish collar to them completely free. And next video, we got a special surprise. All right, guys, the next video, I'm going to be choosing from the comments of those that are subscribed to me to give away this 105 centimeter pipe gun. It's got a metal wishbone. This is good for shooting in holes. It's got a stainless steel trigger mechanism. It's a pretty good gun just for getting Kole and Pachi. Nothing big, but it's got two holes on it if you want to put a double band. So I'll be choosing from those that are supporting me, those that are subscribed, those that are throwing up comments to ship this to them completely free. So guys, thanks so much for supporting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and read your Bibles. Shoots! As you can see, today we're going to be grabbing some bugs, getting some fat menpachis, some of the biggest that I've ever caught before. And it's just going to be an overall great video. Stay tuned for the 1 Minute with God message at the end that helps us all. All right, I don't know if you could tell, but it's pouring right up there on the mountains. And we are in the eye of the storm. So there's a hurricane on island right now. But because we're in the center, actually the winds are super low. So it was pouring harder than it's been pouring all year this morning. And we're gonna jump in the water. Hopefully that rainwater doesn't murk up the ocean, but we're gonna try and get some fish and diving in a hurricane, but it's calm right now. So it's gonna pick up really heavy tomorrow. So gonna try and get a dive in while we can. Well guys, this is the catch and cook. So at the end of my video, I'm gonna show you how I clean my lobster, how I prepare them, how I cook them, and hopefully you guys can go out and get some bugs of your own and be able to have a delicious meal with your family and friends. To start off the dive, I get this little taco and it's not big enough. I pull him out just to make sure. But because he's a little small, probably 0.8 of a pound, I let him go. And they got to be 1 pound in order to get him. You can see Lucio right there, my dive buddy, had a slipper lobster in his hand. And underneath this rock, there's a big male to the right. So I'm pulling him out by his antenna. Now, if you ever catch bugs, you know that the antenna rip really easy. So you got to grab them by the roots. The problem is by the roots is where they're super, super spiny. So you want to get these nice gloves. My gloves have holes in them. My hands got all cut up from grabbing this guy. I went to Maui Sporting Goods and got me some bug grabbers. And those things are thick, perfect for getting bugs. So if you're interested in lobster season, which started on September 1st, ends at the end of April, every month that has the letter R in it is good to catch lobster. I recommend going to Maui Sporting Goods, getting some bug grabbers, and those things will protect your hands. This was super cool to see. I almost never get to see this. 2 males fighting, which means there's a female nearby. So I'm refereeing the competition, but I end up going down to grab these guys. And I grabbed the first one, tried to get the second one, but can't get him on that dive. So I go up and Lucio goes down there with that moo to his body. We'll see him get that later in the video. He goes down and is looking under this cave to try and get that other male. So I'm able to get one male. I go back down. I know there's another one here, but I know there's a female around here somewhere, and I I see the female, so I go to grab it thinking, man, there's a chance it might be a male. And same thing, pull them by the root of the antennas, pull it out, and sure enough, it's a female. So just let it go back into the hole, lay some eggs, and produce some more males for me to get in 7 years from now. They take about 7 years to mature. Well, I know there's another male down here. I saw him wrestling with the other guy, so I go down to grab him. My camera's angle's a little bit off. Just got to bear with me a couple more clips as I'm grabbing these bugs, and we're gonna get to shooting some fish. And I pull this guy out, and sure enough, nice male, so I throw him in the bag. Now we're going into the deeper reef. There's that Pachi looking right at me, and I decide I'm just gonna shoot my 115 roller right into this reef, and I get this guy, which is always a nice fish to get, really good fish fry. And this was one of my biggest Mempachis I've ever got. You can't really tell till I put my hand up, but this thing is over a pound. Now the state record is 1.8 pounds, and that is 1.1, so that's a big Mempachi. I see him on the side of this cliff as I'm diving down, so I switch out for my 3-prong and just start 3-pronging some Pachis. And like I said before, I love this fish. Really good fish fry. Let me know how you eat them. I heard some people eat them raw. They just put them in shoyu. One of my buddies just told me that. I've never tried it, eating it raw, but I think I'm gonna try that. I usually just scale them, gut them, take out the gills, the guts, and pan fry them after I score them, salt and pepper, and it's really good. So I see this Alua house. I think it might be an Alua house. I look up, there's Nanui swimming by, and look at right there, you see that nice Omilu. So I'm hoping this guy will swim by again. I did see a nice Mempachi down there, but I didn't shoot it. I'm hoping for something bigger, but since those guys all swim away, I'm gonna go back down and try and get this Mempachi one more time. So this was actually the biggest Mempachi of the day. This was the 1.1 pounder. The other one might have been around a pound, maybe a little bit under, but this guy is massive. The video really doesn't do it justice. I went home and weighed it. Thing was huge. So I see all these Nanui, and they're swimming around in the school, and you guys know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that Umilu that was swimming with them. Now these guys are big boys. I love Nanui. I love making Nanui poke, but I'm really hoping for that Omilu. I know he's around here somewhere, but today just wasn't the day. I never got to see him again and ended up not being able to take him home. So instead I dive in this crevice. Now when I'm down here, you know I'm looking for Aluas. I'm looking for Omilus, some big papillos swimming around, but I see a super big moo. I go up, I tell Lucio, and Lucio, being the hammer that he is, dives down, hides right under this reef, blasts it after almost a 2-minute breath hold, and he's coming up with just a nice, I would say probably 6-pound moo right here on the end of his shaft. Check this thing out. So that's a nice fish to start the dive. So right here, Lucio sees a Roy, goes down with a 3-prong, pulls up this Roy, cleaning the reef while we're out here. So we're grabbing bugs, we're shooting moose, shooting Mempachi, cleaning the reef, just having a fun time. Even though it's a little bit of a murkier day, you could tell the storm is making it not as clear as it usually is, but still decent enough to get some fish. So I got my gun back out. You know, I'm looking for that Omilu. I'm hoping some Alua are around here somewhere. I know there's Mempachi in the area, and I'm just having a fun time enjoying God's incredible creation right here. Now, sadly, I had a problem with my GoPro. When I was looking under a ledge for some lobster, my GoPro case broke when I hit my head on the reef. Luckily, I was able to notice it before the GoPro fell out. So I grabbed my GoPro, put it in my lobster bag, and wasn't able to get any more footage of the dive.
Well,
Post dive secret, grab a mango, throw the mango in the freezer, put them in the cooler. When you get out from your dive, it's a nice, like, super fresh mango. Road mango. So good. We got the shortest Roy I've ever caught right here, 10 inches. You know, there's a Roy competition. Smallest and biggest Roy each win some prize money. So go out there, kill some invasives, submit it, and hopefully you get something to win. And here's that huge menpachi for scale. Now let's get to preparing these lobsters. All right, guys, we're doing a lobster catch and cook. So I got 7 lobsters behind me, and we're about to clean them, show you guys how I clean them, getting all ready with the lobster tails, just getting the meat and the legs. And then we're gonna go into the kitchen, cook them up, and have an incredible feast. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, here we go. We got our 7 lobsters, and before anybody hates on these are too small, here's the size limit. Your dive knife is 3 1/4 inches, and the carapace from the eyes to the back has to be 3 1/4 inches. So good, good, good. All these good, good. And this one is still good. All right, so even though it's smaller than the big boy over here, it's still legal. Awesome. Now let's get to cleaning these buggers. So, depending on what I'm trying to make will depend on the way I clean it. So for these, I'm just gonna take the tails and the legs because I'm doing a steak and like a surf and turf steak with lobster tails. If I'm doing lobster bisque, I'm putting the whole head and everything in there to really bring the flavor in. All right, so I caught these lobsters. I put them on ice. And usually what I'll do if they're still alive is I'll stab them right here, crack them down to make sure I kill them first, but these are all dead. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut out the edge of the meat just to make the tail easy to get off. I'm gonna split it, take it out, break off an antenna, stick it up the rectum, twist it around and pull out that line so you don't get any feces in your meat. So let's begin. You know, it might be better to use a fillet knife. Boom. A little more bendy. Gets a little more meat too. All right, get around like that. Give them a nice twist. You want to get some gloves. All right, look at all that. That's all flavor if you're gonna use some lobster bisque or some type of soup. And here's the gut line that we wanna get out, but we don't wanna pull it or else it'll snap halfway through and then you'll have half of it in there. So you wanna get an antenna. This guy, antenna's broke as I was trying to get him. So we're gonna use this guy right here. Snap him right here. All right. Check the rectum right here. Straight inside. Now these guys are super spiny, you can see. So I'm gonna twist them, twist them, twist them, and let's see if we pull it out. So can you see it on this side? All right, it's right here. See if we can get it out. Yep, there it is. And now all good to go. So this is just good eats right here. Little bit of guts right here, but we just take that out. And this is just all meat. We'll show you how to cook this up when we get in the kitchen. For now, that's one. All right, now that we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tails all done, now we want to get these legs. So these legs got meat in them, yeah? So we're gonna take the legs of this one, this one, this one, this one. But these legs, maybe take a few of these too. But these two, not enough meat for the amount of effort it takes to get the legs. So what you want to do is I'm gonna grab them and just try and break them off of the stem so you get all that extra meat that's in there. See, I even missed some right there, right? So you want to try and get that root. Then you got some legs. Boom. You got to get gloves for this because I just cut my thumb through my gloves. It does not feel good. But without gloves, would have felt a lot worse. Oh yeah, there we go. Big boy. Now we got our legs. It's gonna be some nice meat, fun to get that out when you eat. And we got our lobster tails. Now notice the size of the head of the biggest compared to the smallest, both legal, right? Big size difference. But look at the size of the difference of the tail. Right? So the heads get way bigger, but the tail doesn't really grow as much compared to the heads. This is significantly bigger, but still, here's one. Here's the next smallest one, right? It's pretty close to the same size. But the heads are way different. Look at that, way bigger. So that's how you know the male from the female. Well, obviously, you know the swimmerettes, the females have the little pinchers right here. They got the fur, and if they're pregnant, they got the eggs. But the female's got smaller legs, and the head is kind of the same size as the body, whereas the male, they got this massive head and this smaller tail compared to the size of the body. Awesome. Hope that gives you a little bit of information when you're diving for some lobsters, because I pulled out so many females. If I just knew that they were male or that they were females, it would have saved me a lot of hassle from pulling them out. So, all right, let's get into the kitchen. First, you separate the lobster tails from the lobster legs. So we're just gonna take all these lobster tails and cut them right down the top. Try not to get the meat if you can. You wanna use gloves. All right. And then do that to all of them. Now we want to butterfly it, so we want to open this up and put the meat on the top. You kind of gotta run your thumb along it, especially if it's in the middle of molting. It's a little bit harder. Now this is going to make it look nice and presentable, just like that. Oh, that's a lobster tail. Now we got them all set on the top, just like this. Now we're going to put the legs right here. Now we get a pan, put lemon juice, garlic, olive oil, and 3 sticks of butter, and let it simmer. Now we just brush the butter, once it's all mixed, right into the lobster tails. And now we're gonna set to broil. It's gonna go to 500 degrees, and you put it in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. So my wife goes ahead and marinates some steak. So while that lobster's cooking, we got some steak and onion with some olive oil. Whew. There it is.
He's like, it's $100 just to show up. And I was like, ah, never mind. And then
yeah, it's a good story. He tells it good. I'm terrible at repeating stories.
That was just
I like.
I don't understand it.
I haven't tried this. Just leave it out.
Welcome back to our 1 minute with God. Today we're going to talk about what it means to be a man biblically. You know, in the world, being a man means you get all the women, or you get the money, or you drive the fast cars. And we live in a world today where even some men don't want to be men, they want to be women. And we got to get back to the Bible, of what the Bible teaches it means to be a man. In 1 Corinthians 16, verse 13, it says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, and be strong." You know, David's last words, this is Paul writing to the Corinthian church, to the men. But David's last words to his son Solomon in 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 2, is simply be strong and courageous and act like a man. And so we got to get back to the Bible, where we got to act like men, like biblical men. So what is a biblical man? Well, let's go to Luke 9:23. Jesus tells us what it means to be a man. In Luke 9:23, then he said to them all, "Whoever wants to be my disciple, my follower, a Christian, a follower of Christ, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." So biblically speaking, according to Jesus, to be a man means a life of daily self-denial, a life of daily carrying your cross, a life of following Jesus. Now the cross today, we look at it, it means salvation because Jesus died on the cross. But at this time, when Jesus was speaking, the cross just meant death. It's where people go to make a public example. Don't do what that person did. They had to carry their cross from the prison cell up to the top of the hill, and they would get nailed to it because they were a thief, a murderer, a rapist, something that deserved death. And so Jesus says, if we want to follow him, we've got to carry our cross daily. We got to die to ourselves daily, dying to our sinful nature, dying to our desires of the flesh, our pleasures, our evil deeds. We die to that every day, and we choose to deny ourselves and follow Christ. That's what it means to be a man. So guys, thanks so much for supporting the channel, and don't forget, act like a man. Shoots.